Universal Manual of Administration and Spiritual Restoration. From Divine Order to Operational Excellence. Prepared by MKMI Leadership for the proper functioning of our local churches. Chapter 3, Local Administration: The Skeleton of the Church. Structuring the body to support the glory. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. Matthew 4 verse for spiritual food. Therefore, brethren, seek out from among you 7 men of good reputation, full of the Holy Spirit and wisdom, whom we may appoint over this business. Acts 6 verse 3. Administrative Organization Preamble: The importance of the skeleton. A church without solid administration is like a human body without a skeleton, a shapeless mass of flesh, incapable of standing, fighting, or moving forward. Administration is not a hindrance to the Spirit, it is the skeletal system that allows the body of Christ to carry the weight of God's glory without collapsing. This chapter defines with surgical precision the roles, limits of power, and responsibilities of every officer in the local MKMI church. It is the guide to avoiding both tyranny, abuse of power, and anarchy, absence of rules. Section 1. The Senior Pastor Base Commander. 1.1 Identity and Mandate. The senior pastor is the superior officer established on the local campus. He is the base commander. He wears the double hat of spiritual father, shepherd, and executive leader, administrator. Jurisdiction: his authority extends over all souls, departments, and activities of the local campus. Source of power: his authority is delegated by the High Command Jesus Christ via the MKMI Hierarchy International National Directorate. 1.2 Job Description. Terms of reference: the senior pastor must not do everything, but he is responsible for seeing that everything is done. 1. Chairman of the Leadership Council. The committee: he convenes and presides over administrative meetings. He defines the agenda. He holds the global vision, he knows where the ship must go and gives the heading to the officers, treasurer, secretary, etc. 2. Feeding and protection. Pastoral function: preaching sound doctrine in accordance with the MKMI Confession of Faith. Counseling and care of souls. Spiritual discipline: rebuke, suspension, restoration in agreement with the council. 3. Administrative supervision: he validates provisional budgets. He countersigns checks or authorizes expenses in dual signature with the treasurer. He ensures that every department, youth, ladies, etc. is active and aligned with the vision. 1.3 Limits of power. What he must not do. To prevent manipulation, spiritual abuse, and autocratic drift, the power of the pastor base commander is not absolute. It is framed by strict boundaries that no one may cross without facing disciplinary sanctions. Prohibition of direct financial management: the pastor must never touch offering money alone, nor keep the cash box at his home. He must not be the sole signatory on bank accounts. Protection: this protects him from accusations of theft and maintains his integrity above suspicion. Prohibition of doctrinal modification: he cannot invent new doctrines, change the MKMI vision, or introduce foreign practices without the endorsement of International HQ. Reminder: he is an ambassador, not the king. He transmits the message, he does not rewrite it. Prohibition of prophetic manipulation: it is strictly forbidden to use prophecy, God told me, to extort money, force marriages, intimidate opponents, or publicly humiliate members. Principle: prophecy must edify, exhort, and comfort, never control. Respect for jurisdictions: non-interference: he must not perform the work of the secretary, treasurer, or deacon in their place. If he does, he disempowers his team and becomes a bottleneck for the church. Consequence: a pastor who does everything ends up burning out and prevents his disciples from growing. Respect for privacy and confidentiality: the pastor is neither a guru nor a spy. He has no right to interfere in the privacy of couples or families' career choices, household management, vacations, unless a proven sin endangers their soul. Pastoral secrecy: everything entrusted during counseling or confession must remain sealed. Divulging a member's secrets from the pulpit, even under the guise of prayer, is a grave betrayal. Zero tolerance for sexual immorality: the pastor must maintain a safe distance and irreproachable purity. Safety protocol: it is forbidden to meet a person of the opposite sex alone in a closed office without visibility, glass door or open door mandatory. Any sexual scandal leads to immediate suspension, as it defiles the uniform of the entire MKMI army and destroys the trust of the sheep. Prohibition of excessive zeal. Life balance. The pastor must not impose an unsustainable pace of life on his troops or himself. Family protection. It is forbidden to multiply meetings every night of the week to the point of destroying the family life of the faithful. A church that destroys homes for God's work works against God. Rest and family time are biblical and mandatory for the mental health of soldiers. 1.4. The reporting system. Obligation to account. The pastor is a man under authority. He must account to the National General Directorate Intelligence Division or the Zone Supervisor. The weekly report. Flash report. Content: attendance, statistics, men, women, children, amount of offerings, tithes, number of new converts, major incidents. Recipient: National Secretariat. The monthly report. Strategic report. Content: spiritual analysis of the month, project status, complete financial balance sheet validated by the treasurer, material or spiritual needs of the campus. Format: written with clarity, honesty, do not inflate numbers, and humility. Section 2. The Assistant Pastor. The second EXO. 2.1. Role and function. The reliable support. In the Army, this is the Executive Officer EXO. He is the commander's right hand. His role is not to have his own vision, but to help the senior pastor accomplish the MKMI vision. 1. The official replacement. In case of absence, illness, or travel of the senior pastor, the assistant takes command. He ensures continuity of service. 2. The operations guardian. Often, while the senior pastor concentrates on prayer and the word. Acts 6 verse 4, the assistant manages the operational implementation of committee decisions. 2.2. Limits and dangers. Prevention of usurpation. The position of assistant is the most exposed to the temptation of the spirit of Absalom. Subtle rebellion. What he must never do: create a clan or faction inside the church. I am for Paul, I am for Apollos. Criticize the senior pastor in front of members or other leaders. Steal the hearts of the people by appearing more accessible or nicer than the senior pastor to take his place. His loyalty, it must be flawless. If he disagrees with the pastor, he must speak to him in private, never in public. 2.3. Reports. The assistant does not report directly to national except during interim periods. He reports to the senior pastor. He accounts for the execution of tasks entrusted to him. Section 3. The Administrative Council. The local general staff. The council is not a rubber stamp body. It is the engine of the church. Each member has a specific and vital function. 3.1. The deacons. The ministry of tables and order. Definition: deacons are the hands of the church. They take care of physical needs so that pastors can take care of spiritual needs. Tasks: maintenance of order during services, protocol, ushers. Management of food distribution or social aid. Building maintenance and logistics. Visiting the sick and widows under pastoral supervision. Reports: the head deacon reports to the pastor or assistant after every major event. Logistical problems, material needs. 3.2. The church secretary, the living memory. The secretary is one of the most crucial positions. A church without a secretary is an amnesiac church. Power and jurisdiction: he/she manages information. Their power begins at data collection and ends at secure archiving. Specific tasks: drafting minutes. PV, nothing is official until it is written. They note all decisions taken in committee meetings. Managing archives, baptismal records, marriages, baby dedications, up-to-date member lists, etc. Validating reports: before the pastor sends a report to national, the secretary must countersign it to certify that the figures correspond to the records. Errors to avoid: failing to keep confidentiality. The secretary knows everything, they must say nothing outside. Being disorganized: losing legal documents. 3.3. The church treasurer, the guardian of the temple power and jurisdiction, he manages financial flows. He has the duty to say no if an expense is not justified or if there are no funds, even to the pastor with respect. Specific tasks: counting offerings, always performed by a team of minimum 3 people. Principle of the threefold cord: never alone. Accounting form must be signed by all counters. Banking management, rapid deposits, check issuance, bank reconciliation. Transparency, keeping a ledger income expenses viewable by the council. Financial reports, he drafts the monthly financial report, tithes, offerings, special donations, fixed expenses, rent, electricity, variable expenses. This report is presented to the committee for approval before being sent to HQ. 3.4. The delegate spokesperson, the voice of the assembly. Role, he is the communication bridge. Internal, he makes official announcements during the service. He ensures that information flows well between the committee and the assembly. External, he may represent the church before local authorities or other churches' public relations, under the pastor's mandate. Report, he feeds back the church climate to the pastor, what people are saying, rumors to extinguish misunderstandings. 3.5. The advisor, wisdom. Role, often an elder or mature person. They do not necessarily have an executive function, but bring wisdom, moderation, and arbitration in case of internal conflict in the committee. Mission, to ensure decisions remain biblical and ethical. Section for the ministry representatives. Brief development for integration. Every ministry intercession, worship, children, youth, etc. has a representative on the council. Responsibility, they are not there to defend their territory but to align their department with the global vision of the year. Reports, each ministry leader must submit an activity sheet, attendance, goals met, problems to the Secretariat before the monthly leadership meeting. Section 5, Management Techniques and Respect for Jurisdictions. How to keep the machine running without grinding gears. The greatest enemy of local administration is role overlap when everyone wants to do everything. 5.1. Clear job descriptions. Every person appointed to a position must receive a written mission sheet. Example, the head of ushers does not touch the sound system. The head of sound does not usher while adjusting the microphone. 5.2. The principle of non-interference. The pastor supervises but does not micromanage. If he has entrusted the youth to a leader, he must let him lead within the framework of the vision. If he intervenes constantly, he frustrates the leader. The treasurer does not decide on spirituality. The deacon does not decide on worship. 5.3. Conflict resolution strategy. Matthew 18. If a leader steps on another's task, 1. Private confrontation, the injured party goes to see the other. My brother, you did my work, it makes me uncomfortable. 2. Mediation, if it continues, it is spoken of to the pastor or advisor. 3. Arbitration, the council decides and recalls the rules. 5.4. Administrative humility. The most powerful technique is spiritual, let each esteem others better than himself. Philippians 2 verse 3. A good MKMI administrator does not seek power, he seeks service. He knows that his function has a beginning and an end, but the kingdom is eternal. Note on report synthesis of flows. To close this chapter, here is the imperative information circulation chart in the local church. 1. Level 1 field, members volunteers report orally to ministry leaders. 2. Level 2 tactical, ministry leaders youth, worship, deacons draft a written report to the secretary and pastor. 3. Level 3 strategic local, treasurer and secretary consolidate info for the senior pastor and council. 4. Level for transmission, the senior pastor validates and sends the global report to the national directorate or international directorate. Information that does not flow up is a pain that settles in.